This right here is the Colnago Y1Rs. And when it launched earlier this year, people lost their minds. I mean, it looks crazy. It's also potentially one of the fastest bikes ever made. So I'm gonna jump in, take it for a ride, see how it rides, and then I'm gonna tell you about the details. Let's do it. Today's adventure is all about aero, and I've got all the tricks. Actually, never mind the hydration pack, but I do have aero sunglasses, aero socks, and most importantly, perhaps the most aero bike of them all, the Y1Rs. Right now, I'm headed over to my friend's, Mr. Colnago superfan himself. He'll be riding a V3 RS. We got about 100 miles ahead of us. One thing that I'm noticing so far is, man, this bike gets looks as you go through the neighborhood. Let's see how this goes today. So as I ride and talk about things, I just want to give you a little bit of context. This bike came with Vision 45 wheels. That is a ridiculous thing to put on this bike. I'm running NV 4.5s right now, and I recommend the NV 6.7 really. This bike deserves big, deep wheels, but I got the 4.5s. They feel great. I'm running Schwable 28 tires, about 50 PSI. First climbs, and I'm noticing that my knees bounce off the bars because they are wider down towards the top of the frame. That's a little bit annoying, I gotta say, and I don't think there's a good way to fix it. Got a little sidewall cut, same place that I have cut a tire. This time it wasn't me though. Chris is putting a tube in. He doesn't like, I don't know how you feel about tubeless, but no, today you're putting in a tube.
Love-hate relationship.
Love-hate. So I got a minute because Colnago superfan number 1 is inside this REI that we came past and getting a new tire. Let's talk about what I'm noticing so far. This is not a super stiff bike, which is fantastic. There's like the really nice flex right where you need it. Doesn't feel noodly, but like there's just enough so that it's got that pop, it's got that snap. And I'm really enjoying it so far. The aero is almost a bonus. I do have to say though, when you're riding this bike and wearing these glasses, you're writing a check that you better hope you can cash because people notice. Just got finished climbing up pretty sizable hill, a couple miles, and although the Y1 is the aero bike, a little bit of traffic there. Although the Y1 is the aero bike, it feels to me like the V5. It climbs just like that.
Blah, blah, blah.
So for the last 10 miles, been absolutely doing battle with the wind. But that's where this bike shines, and it is really doing well. First stop for refuel this ride. There's more coming up ahead, but this is the big one. Chris was really struggling. You know, I said it earlier, but a bike like that, into the wind, it just really shines. That's the times when you're not racing, that's when a bike like that really, it makes a lot of sense, and that's why I love riding an aero bike. I'm at 90 miles, got a long sustained climb, maybe 5 miles, and first of all, I had to stop and take the leash from my bike computer off of the handlebars because it was rubbing against my thigh and just killing me. And then I'm also noticing there's not really as many hand positions on the tops for these bars. Just notes for the future. I don't know that it should stop you buying this bike, but it's interesting. In video time, it's been like a second. In real time, it's been a lifetime. I don't have anything to say about the bike, but my God, I just want to be done climbing. No more, please, mercy. In video land, it's been another 1 second, but it's been another lifetime for me. I'm finally at the top of this hill, and I probably won't film again with this bike, but I'm at about 95 miles. I've done all the things, and it feels fantastic. Yeah, it's an aero bike. That's what everyone is going to talk about. But really, it's just a fantastic all-around race bike, and that's what makes it so great. It feels really good, descending, climbing, all the things. The one thing I'm gonna say is that you should buy it as a frame set, because Colnago is terrible about putting together builds. There might be one decent one, the team edition, but if you want to change anything, then you end up with these terrible wheels that don't make any sense on this bike, and it just, the out front mount is no good. You just need to build it. Get something from Frames and Gear, go with NV67, pick the group set that makes sense for you, just build the frame yourself. That's the way to do it. I'll get into more details in a moment more for you. Let's start with an unpack of the builds. What I tested was SRAM Red, and then there is a Campy 13 speed or Shimano Dura Ace option. For wheels, you can choose either 45mm Vision or Campy wheels. There's the NV45s that I tested, and then the Shimano 50mm is also an option. None of those builds are available with a power meter, and when I checked, it was more expensive to buy a build from Colnago than just assemble the pieces at retail prices. Colnago also says in the US that it's not even available with a build, it's frame set only, even though if you go to the Colnago website, it does show builds. Either way, I would just ignore them no matter where you are in the world. You're gonna pick from a frame size of extra small up to extra large. There are 5 sizes in there. And then the handlebars are available with either 377 hood to hood or 391 hood to hood. And then there's a flare down to either 400 or 420. In the stem options, you're gonna start at 95 and go up to 135 in 10mm increments. And I give it the air quotes because it's not really a stem, but in terms of measurement, it's a stem. Colnago quotes the frame and fork weight as 1,415 grams, and that compares to the V5 at 1027 for the same combo. Now, if what you're curious about is ready to ride weight, then I had both bikes on hand, and they were both running the NV45 wheels, while the V5 had Dura Ace and the Y1 had Red. And what I found was 6.68 kilograms for the V5, while it was 7.54 for the Y1. And that's ready to ride without pedals. And then, in case you're curious, I did ask Colnago, that handlebar unit is 330 grams. In terms of aero, you know you're not gonna get easy and comparable data. But Colnago made a real point of a big part of the development of this bike was partnering with a university and working hard to make sure that the CFD model they were using was as accurate as possible. And the way they did that was that they 3D printed frames, they fitted them with pressure sensors, and then they went back and forth to the wind tunnel, and they took that data and they fed it back to the model. They saw what they got, then they went back, they tested back and forth and back and forth. And what they were able to do was take the error rate of their modeling from an industry standard of about 30% all the way down to 15%. So twice as accurate to reality, and then they use that to develop a better, faster bike. And the result of that was a bike that is 11 watts faster than the V5RS, and a bike that Colnago claims is the fastest UCI compliant bike in the World Tour. Now, just so you know, if you see any independent aero testing out there, just keep in mind that this bike has only ever been tested with the 45mm wheels outside of what Colnago is saying. Obviously a bunch of facts and figures there, that was data heavy, but let's just back up a little bit. What I really care about is ride quality. And the ride on this bike is not like an aero bike. To me, it feels a lot like the V5, and that's high praise. It doesn't feel overly stiff, and it never rides heavy at all. What I think really works well for this bike is that they keep the seat stay junction and the seat tube junction separate. And what that does is it introduces flex, but in a positive way. It keeps the ride lively and also comfortable at the same time. It's something that I really appreciate about this bike. All right, now to wrap this video up, what I want to do is I want to pose a question to myself. Would I want to own this bike? And the reason that I'm doing it this way is because there are some things that I highlighted that really kind of bugged me. And you can check out the written review for a lot of details about that. But also, even in the initial part of this video where I was riding the bike, there were things that bugged me about it. I don't feel like the paint is all that high quality. I hate that there are these terrible builds out there that make you sort of question everything. Like somebody at Colnago decided that those wheels and this bike went together, and then you have to start thinking, well, if they made that choice, what about other things about the bike? Does it hold up? It just puts a cloud over everything. And even the handlebar, there were things about it that sort of bugged me while I was riding. You know, it's just like you could dive into these little details. But if you take a step back and you go, would I want to own this bike? Go, absolutely. Because what it really comes down to is that the ride quality is fantastic and there's this amazing story. And at this level of bike, a big part of what it is, the bike you're choosing, because a lot of them ride really well. And while the Y1 stands out in that way, there are other choices. But not only that, you get this story that comes with it, where the people at Colnago, the engineers and the designers, they spent time obsessing about every little detail to get the very fastest bike. And that's a cool story. And when you pick this bike, you're telling that story and it becomes a part of you. And so I would love to own this bike. It rides great, it's got a great story, I'm into it.